So we just had a fantastic kickoff with James telling us what we can expect today. And so now we're going to kick off with that. It's our first session, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us Prashant Tripathy, Managing Director and CEO, Max Life Insurance Company. Prashant will talk about meeting business priorities in a hybrid world. Please join me in welcoming Prashant. Good morning, Prashant. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Zemia. So excited to be here, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, we are
Ladies and
equally
gentlemen,
excited. Over to you.
warm morning to all of you. Honestly, extremely excited to be here. It's a very important subject that all of you, especially in business, must be facing day in and day out. And what I'm going to talk today is on the basis of experience that we gained. And jury is still out on how to be the best employer in the changed circumstances, but it's an evolving world and we are learning as we go along. Max Life Insurance is the fourth largest private life insurance company in India, and we are also equally excited to be one of the best employers. We are 18th Great Places to Work company in India and 55th in Asia. And what I'm going to share with you this morning is how has Max Life Insurance been trying to balance between the two objectives of a very rapid growth and equally focusing on being the best employer like we always have here. Let me first begin with a few learnings, maybe a few trends that we started to see as the year started to unfold about 18 months ago. Just to give you an introduction, we are an Indian company. We had no policy around working from home. It was a completely physical setup. People came every day, and the business ran like any other typical business. And came suddenly the lockdown caused initially by the panic or fear of coronavirus and subsequently by actual coronavirus. So it was a big change that we had to manage. And through last 18 months, there have been ups and downs, but very happy to share, very proud to share that the last 18 months perhaps have been the best 18 months for Max Life Insurance ever since its journey began about 20 years ago. Let me first go through our learnings of the trends that we saw, and then I'm going to share with you very quickly what we did to ride the trend, manage the trend. I think as the year began, it was very clear. I mean, we will all talk about building a digital organization or embedding digitization in the organization. But the true digitization actually began with coronavirus. And before that, it was like a fad for every CEO to say that he or she is on a digital journey. But now we know clearly what digitization is and what it can do for the organization. And we have been on that journey ever since. I think the learning of last 18 months also is that delivery on business outcomes and remaining a great places to work has become more challenging. It is not as easy as it was before the impact of COVID. It was much easier. It was predictable. We knew, we met, and now suddenly the entire paradigm has shifted. One of the big trends which has emerged is we're now competing for talent at a global level. There are people who can work from any market, serving any company, and that flexibility never existed before. So where you were, and if you're a good employer in that geography itself created an entry barrier, or so to say, exit barrier. But now those entry or exit barriers are gone. So you're now competing with just about everybody. And hence, becoming a great employer is even more important than how it was before, because you're now competing with just about everyone. One thing has become very clear to everybody, perhaps Max Life Insurance also, is physical or complete physical is out of window. It is not, the world is not going to be like how it was before March of 2020. The world is very different. And I think differentiating on flexibility for our employees is has become extremely important. If you don't provide what the employees are looking for, then some other employer will come and provide. So The job market competitiveness in that sense has intensified, putting a lot of pressure on all of us to be flexible, to be providing what employees are looking for, and what employees could look for may not be generic. It could be different. It could be customizable. It could be suiting to the need of an individual. I think that has led to the physical world becoming digital, which means how well you bring digital and interface it with a human being or a physical setup is the new normal, and everybody's learning. Are the models proven completely? The answer is no. Are the models going to be same for all the companies? The answer again is no. I think all of us will have to strike the optimal balance between physical and digital, which works for us. And it could not be generic for industries. It could not definitely be generic for the world at large. It is going to be hugely different. The right balance of physical and digital, for example, in a company like ours, which is predominantly sales-driven organization, where 85% of the people are working on sales, which requires face-to-face sales. The right balance of physical and digital will be very different from an IT company, where there is no face-to-face meeting requirement. So all industries, all companies will have to strike their own balance. I think within that, I am a firm believer, and all of you would agree, that the culture of the organization, the purpose, the values which anchored and bound the organization together, for any organization to create a strategy that it could deliver on, it could align its people, maintaining that culture in this kind of setup where people are either working from home or half the workplace is at a different place has become extremely challenging. It's very, very difficult. And while there is a lot of debate going on saying there are companies which are going to work the entire time from home, allowing their employees to work from home, not to come to the office, it appears to me that unless well thought through, this flexibility could impede the ability to create a common culture. And I found that supervision is passe. We don't require any supervisors. And if you're not careful, that supervisory layer now, which is really trying to find its own value, can create havoc in the organization by shifting the balance from the discussions or creativity or brainstorming to mere reviews. And I found that happening in our organization. We've done a few things. In a second, I'll share what we're trying to, but that's also a very unique trend that we have seen. And hence, engaging with employees, having that deep connect, being out there for them to relate, has become another big challenge. Work-life balance has gone for a toss. You all must be experienced, and it has happened because the productivities, I think, of how well you could work cross-functionally in a physical setup has gone down. It is not as easy to walk up to somebody's desk. Now you have to set up a call, a Zoom call or a video call, and that person may be busy. So that entire thing has become far more complex. And in that setup, I think existing, surviving, doing well, expanding business growth has become or has found a new meaning, a new challenge. I'm very happy to share that last year, as I mentioned to you, we grew drastically well, and it has happened because I think we were watching these trends very, very carefully, and we were working towards making sure that we created a unified purpose. We could still maintain the level of equilibrium which is required between the employee centricity, employee morale, motivation, momentum, and the outcome which is expected. So as soon as lockdown happened, I think we came together and we gave a purpose, saying times are very difficult, very important for Max Life Insurance to do well, and these are times when we could differentiate ourselves. And I think the entire company reacted quite well. We launched a special program called Mission Possible, which was to survive against adversity of coronavirus, and that had different rewards and recognition mechanism, listening forums, engagement avenues, as well as a very simplified way to operate in a digital setup, which means we kind of mirrored and replicated and created an optimized way of working in a digital setup. And that definitely helped. We started to gain market share very, very quickly. The second thing is always listen. I think the need to listen has multiplied many times. And I can share with you in my work life, every week, at least a couple of hours is spent on talking to people, just understanding their problems, trying to solve their problems. Because, uh, you know, earlier those avenues were flowing through the hierarchy. Now, unless as leadership we listen more to our employees, we won't be able to solve their problems. We also continue to run the pulse surveys every 2 months to know what is happening and be very quick in terms of solving it. No points for guessing. A huge investment in technology on to enable our sales organization, sales tools, training, which has moved now from physical to more digital, work from home infrastructures, designing a world class hybrid workplace. We are making investments, and by January of next year, we will have a new office, especially for our home office, our head office staff of about 2,000 people, where we are just going to go digital. So it's not a normal workspace. It is all hot desking. People can come and work anytime they feel like. Uh, People communication is another thing that we've been trying to promoting the supervisors and really cutting down on this meeting. Digital has caused the number of meetings to go up. People are on meeting all the time. So unless careful, this meeting can eat into a lot of productive time. So what we have done is very, very simple things. Number one, every day from 1 to 2 is a do not disturb time for people to have their lunch. We don't set up any meetings during. People are discouraged to make any calls to anyone, and that has given a big relief to people to operate. I'm just contemplating not yet launch to keep a couple of days as off meeting days, so that people can get to prioritize, could work on their deliveries rather than being in meetings. I think Max Life Insurance as a company believes that we can't have 100% digital solution. So we are slowly embarking on a journey to get our people to offices, not on a full-time basis, but maybe a couple of days a week. That process is starting. It had started a long time ago for the sales organization. We are slowly starting for our support staff, and I think you know maintaining a great culture, maintaining a great value system in the organization. For that, human interaction, face-to-face interaction is foundational. So Max Life Insurance is not going to be a 100% digital organization. We'll get people to work, but at the same time, be mindful and be careful about what the needs of people could be. For example, if somebody has to travel every day for 2 hours to come to the office, we will understand that, and perhaps the rules will be different. If there are young parents who have children at home who are not going to schools, we are going to be mindful about that. But at the same time, motivate people to slowly go back to work for a brief period to come together. We have collected survey before taking those steps, and I'm very positive that people are going to like it because coming back to office is going to be a big difference. Our takeaway from that, from a business perspective, is human touch is required, but more than that, what is required is continue to inspire people to deliver to the outcome that the business is looking for. Continue to align people on the strategies, otherwise we won't be successful. And ensuring that there is always a common thread, which is tying the entire workforce together towards the outcome that we are trying to achieve. Now, in a physical world, that thread was very strong. It was very easy to bind. In a normal setup, I think we're all learning, but I'm very happy that so far the experience has been very positive. And I think that's the way we Max Life will operate. I'm sure you will have your own journeys, your own stories. This is what I had to share with you. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Prashant, thank you so much. What an absolutely wonderful session. Personally, I loved your focus on creating, work models and frameworks that are in tune with the demands and the expectations of the workforce. And I think more importantly, expanding the definitions of productivity, of collaboration, and of employee well-being in the post-pandemic world. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and more importantly for sharing some very strategic actions that you're taking as an organization.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Damien.
And now, my dear friends, let me share with you about our social wall activity. Visit the social wall area to learn, express, connect, and engage with your peers. Share your experience with pictures, videos, and the polls. Head to our social wall area right away to share your engagement journey now. Up next is our CEO dialogue. Yes, the very, very awaited CEO dialogue. This is where you're going to hear the CEO's perspective on the changing people paradigm in the current time. See you there.